Hello, and welcome back to my GTNH playthrough. It is Wednesday, July 8th, and we're just kind of over here with my QFTs. Starting to get quite a few of them at this point, but I just set up this guy. This is the first of my tier 3 ones, which I dedicated to the raw intelligence catalyst, which I'm real excited about because this one gives us stem cells, raw growth, and growth catalyst. All things that are in the backlog of things that I keep running out of or having to wait on. And when I made an attempt to see if I could craft the Forge of the Gods yet. And I have crafted the controller, but similar to the compact reactors, I'm short on the actual individual blocks. I did set up like a group craft just so I wouldn't have to sit here crafting the individual parts of it. And it's going to take a second to think, but you see I'm short raw growth, I'm short sterilized bio. This is mostly because I was out of the raw growth, and then I'm short on these two as well. But you can see I'm not short on infinity or anything else. Part of that is, we'll get into that in a second. So real quick, just to show, I did, just a quick note on this guy. I did kind of go the cheap route though. So after I learned that only the manipulator casing actually affects the tier of the rest we can run, I did do the shielding casing, which is these guys as the neutron tier 1 cheapo guys, and then just did the infinity infused tier 2 as just to get it up to the right recipe. Other than that, it's just my standard setup. Got my bulk catalyst housing over here, input. I realized I forgot to put a cable here. Wait. There we go. Running it at UIV, just because I am using a ton of the stuff and need a ton more. We got our little subnet for storage, which then via wireless comes up here to the output buses up top, and they're all filtered. So yeah, this should be pretty solid, and that'll be a big boon. I haven't started crafting the second one, but I do want to. I just need to figure out which catalyst I want to use for it. Probably whatever one gives me the stuff for tier 4. Let me try tier. No. Just do manipulator. And that'll be space time, which the block I'm going to be missing is this black body Nequadria. So yeah, I'll probably set this one up just so I can start building up this stuff so I can craft the tier 4 casings, and then we will be golden. All right. So with that though, got that set up. I haven't made any huge progresses, but I've been making a ton of small ones. Just real quick to kind of show off. So on the cutting machines, I finally did bite the bullet and redo all these patterns so that I can use the crafting input buffer, which allows these to go way faster. Plus all these are at higher tiers. They're all using the best water that they can use. Although I am only running all of them, the ones that have lubricant or space time or water as their cutting material. I did go with lubricant for all of them because it's faster. I didn't want to mess around with space time. At some point, I'm sure I will regret that, as I will have to come back and redo a bunch of these patterns, but I need my space time for other more important stuff. So I got that taken care of. There's not really many other upgrades over here. I did get this guy back online because I had borrowed all the pieces from it because I wasn't running it and didn't need the stuff. So I got a capacitor, got this running on a laser and on its own little thing again. So that's back up and operational. Then on top of that, I've just been doing a bunch of other random upgrades, kind of what I keep saying, throughout the base to speed things up. So one of the major ones is, now that I have the EV capacitors, I've decided to try to go a little crazy. So in here, I upgraded these to hydrogen coils and upgraded these to UIV laser hatches, but not just any. I got them running on the 4000 ones. So again, these were at UEV 256. Now they're at UIV 496. So substantially faster. I even, to the point that I even put the random other ABS that I had set up, or Mega ABS, I pulled all the recipes out of that just to have these guys. At some point, I will build more of these to but currently that upgrade on the laser hatches was more than enough to give me the throughput I need to keep up with any recipe I fire off right now. I haven't had to wait on those on any point. Sometime here in the next few days, I would like to upgrade all these guys because these are obsolete, these multi-blocks. I will say I'm not a big fan of how big the new ones are, but the nice thing for the new ones is, and these are the ore plants if you're not familiar, is the new ones can run off lasers. So they'll each have their own individual laser, and I can really speed up my throughput of processing ores. Because if you look in here, this one's, for the most part, well, it's kind of keeping up. We've got like some blocks that have like millions in the backlog, so can take care of that, not waiting on resources. I just haven't decided how I want to lay it out yet, because one of the new ones is like 15 by 15. So instead of having 8 separate ones, I will just run 4, and then I'll just upgrade them with the laser, and then so that's on the work in progress side of it. Next up, while I was trying to craft the new QFT, I finally broke down and upgraded some other stuff. Half of this was done over the weekend, and I just forgot to mention it the other day, which is the databank upgrade, and then the other half I did today. So the problem was I had most of my assembly line recipes coming through one main assembly line. I did finally set up a P2P and a second assembly line, but problem 2 is you need to give the data for the data hatches to it. Now, the nice thing, so before I had this one, since it was the only one running off this guy down here, just ran a simple data cable up here, boom, worked, everything was functional. Now that I want to make it parallel, and also I don't have the space over here to make more of these, I could make one more, but it just would get cramped really fast again, instead of all cleaned up like it is. So the wireless actually solves that problem, because it's not one-to-one for the wireless connector and transceiver. You can have one transceiver and as many receptors as you want. So what we've got going on over here is a whole long line of data banks. The other problem was I also ran out of room for data sticks, so I was having to decide which ones to pull out and stuff, which was not something I was going to keep doing for very long, because that was the thing. But you can do is just do a long daisy chain of data sticks or data banks, where you go output to input, input to output, so on and so forth. And then essentially all of these share the same data. And then this last one in the chain is where I have the wireless transmitter. And so far, now doing that, I should have plenty of space for a long time, because I have this data bank filled out, and then just the bottom row of this one. And technically speaking, I probably won't, but if I needed to, I could add more data banks to the other open casings that I have, and I just decided to go this route because it's easier to see them all. And if I'm like, it's one of the weird glitches, or maybe not glitches, from having so many of these multi-blocks change controllers and change setup, that some of them I've found needed me to redo the research and data for them, so making new data sticks. And then this way is just easier to find what I'm looking for, where I can just like hover over it, if I'm typing for like space, be like, okay, these two have some of my space modules in there, for example. But I got this done, which led me to be able to make the first. I haven't gone too crazy yet, because, so this one is just here. It's off of P2P dual networks down here. But I haven't been able to, shouldn't say haven't been able to, I haven't gone on down the list of upgrading the power that comes out of here. I upgraded the first laser specifically. That way, this guy running, because it would have taken the current full power to run, doesn't shut off anything else I craft and don't think about it. But I will go through and upgrade all the lasers. I will probably not do lasers in between like transformers I'm not using on empty rows, so I can just like save on laser hatches until I need them. But sometime here in the next couple days, I'll be setting up the UIV or UMV components down this line. So I'll need a bunch of power down here in a little bit anyway. So the upgrading the power down here is on the menu for soon. And also speaking of upgrading, one of the things there were two things I didn't realize. One is really very simple, is that this auto power IC, as now that I have access to space time and the Mark V reactor, you can make this gravitational lens, which just makes this recipe cheaper. You don't need to make tesseracts anymore, and you use less superfluid. So I did do that little upgrade. The other bigger upgrade, however, is if we looked at the proto Halconite, any of them, you can see the default recipe is to use infinity, and that's how we had all of them currently set up. I did go through and all the ones I currently had patterned, change them to be the Creon recipe, which I just realized there's both Creon and melanin. That's interesting. Huh. I swear some of them didn't have that. I could be completely wrong here. No, it looks like they all do. Interesting. I'll have to think about that a little more if I want to like split out some of the more commonly used ones, like maybe the ingots and the plates or what have you. I don't really know. I haven't really seen what I end up using more or have too many of. So that's just food for thought. But long story short, I swapped this out, so I am using a lot less infinity for my craft. So like that Forge of the Gods craft, I just tried to show off. I can technically fire this off if it wasn't for cleaning up some of my other stuff, which is now that QFT, I literally only had it running for about 5 minutes before start hitting record. So that's already taken care of that issue. Nice to see. And now the last one is fixing these three. This guy I can't do in the QFT till I have a tier 4, which, like I said, I will set up the other tier 3 to start working on that. And then maybe I'll just, now that I don't need those other bacteria vats for the other ones, maybe I'll just decommission those and make those more biocatalyst ones, and then also upgrade the energy hatches on those. But over here, I did go through, why are they all off? 240. Interesting. What'd I do? Did I break something? I did break something. That should be fine now. Oh, I know exactly what I did. It was when I was copy pasting. I wasn't thinking. I got it. I'll show you here in a second. So basically, I upgraded all these ones energy hatches, but the way to upgrade it is I did this side first and then just copy pasted across. If you can see, there's no covered cable here. So when I pasted in all the energy hatches, I broke the cable connection. So all of these lost their things. So they've all been turned off for a little bit, which is unfortunate, but they should all turn on now and be good to go. I did upgrade all of these from UHV to UIV overclocked. So we went from 180 seconds per 20 kiloliters to now we're at 45 seconds. So substantial speed upgrade. I added these two a few days ago, but still wasn't quite keeping up. And then I did decommission all these guys because this thing's more than fast enough to keep up with it. And it's just easier to level maintain with one instead of screw around with all this stuff down here. So that's just, those are just there to remind of the past. And this was the one I was talking about. I pulled all the recipes out of it besides Indoloid because this guy makes Indoloid passively, and moved them over. And then the very last thing, I didn't finish it. Some of the stuff took longer to craft, and I made some goofs earlier where I forgot to put like the data sticks in the data banks and stuff. So I had recipes jamming up the assembly lines. But I did work on upgrading this structure. You can see I have the first ring. This ring, I think it has some other properties, but the main thing is it reduces the minimum number of casings for the exoplant, so you can actually add more. As currently there's only 25 input buses, but now I can have enough input buses for every mold, or to like ingots where I'm very quickly going to run out of space, I can have more of those. The next module I plan on putting here is the one that allows me to run this run UIV recipes. It is running at UIV, but you can't actually process UIV recipes in here right now. And I did, or to install that one, you also have to upgrade the chassis for it. And looks like I'm missing 13. So let me just. Oh, I know why I'm missing those. It's because of the other module I started crafting. Well, I craft these, so when the module finishes crafting, but it should be really close. So it's this recipe down here that's running. I'm just waiting on hydrogen coils. Hydrogen coils, I should probably upgrade this multi-block, but that's down where that second assembly line I just showed off is, and I don't have the sufficient power to upgrade it to faster right now down in that area. So eventually I'll be able to speed up these sooner than later. But plan on doing that module to upgrade the ability, and then migrating everything over here. Also, this one's sweet because it glows when it turns on. Like I really like the way it looks. So we'll start actually making good use of this pretty fast. And the very last little minor thing is I'm still going crazy with UIV capacitors. Threw one in here, upgraded this because this is one of the crafting dimensional plasma forges. So it is substantially faster now because now this guy is, I upped this one all the way to 16,000 UIV. It was running at 256, and I only upgraded 2 of these to run at higher energy hatches. Be warned though, and I'm assuming it'll get fixed. I haven't looked to see if anyone else has had the problem though. But when I upgraded the energy hatch in here, no matter what I did, I could not get it to relink these guys over here until I broke the controller and replaced the main controller. And when you do that, you lose your progress. As you see, like I broke this one yesterday, and I'm already back at fully 100,000 optical circuits. The crystal one was basically at 100,000 immediately. So I almost expect those will like get balanced differently in the future anyways. But yeah, that's pretty much it. Like I said, right now I'm working towards the Forge of the Gods, and I think after I mess around with the biocatalyst, especially now that these guys are running, I should be pretty well on my way to firing that craft off, and hopefully we'll see if I can get it by the end of the week. That would be ideal. Like I said, tomorrow, if it's been a little busy at work, yada, yada, yada. If I can, if I have spare time, which I think I will tomorrow, I'll start setting up the UMV components and actually pushing into UMV. I haven't set up a single UMV thing yet, but I would like to have that running concurrently with setting up or crafting the Forge of the Gods. So that is the plan for tomorrow. So yeah, appreciate you for watching. I hope everybody has a good night, and I will see you either tomorrow if I make more progress besides just upgrading some hatches, or Friday, either way. So hope you guys have a good day. Goodbye.